Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It is the Skype show tonight. We will be taking your calls in a few minutes. But first of all, Mkhitaryan could be being shown the door by Mourinho and Manchester United as patience runs thin. I'm quite surprised by this. We'll also be talking about how good can Paul Pogba be, why Fellaini's not signing a new contract, and also everything you want to talk about as well. But yes, let's start off with Mkhitaryan first of all. So, Henrikh Mkhitaryan is potentially being shown the door at Manchester United. I mean, to be honest, can you see a way back for Mkhitaryan based on his form this season? When he came to Manchester United, if you remember a year ago, we were doing shows on the United Stand saying, why is Mkhitaryan not part of the squad? Why is Jose not picking his signing? It's a bit reminiscent of Lindelof. And I think Mourinho was giving him time to adjust to the Premier League. There were concerns about his fitness levels, his mentality, his physical approach to the Premier League, because it's very different to Bundesliga. So they did that time, and towards the end of the season and mid-season he came into the team. He scored that goal in the Europa League. Over the summer, Mkhitaryan really impressed Mourinho and the staff. He was coming in to do extra training, and he started the season quite well, although I felt he was a bit of a stat padder. But with more space in the end of the games when we were beating teams 3 and 4-0, getting the third and fourth goal, Mkhitaryan blossomed. Then he had that car crash October where he was awful, and for me, Mkhitaryan's October was epitomised by a 50-50 challenge with Salah that he bottled at Anfield, and it just seemed to get worse and worse from there. This has obviously upset a few Manchester United fans in relation to he seemed to have turned the corner and established himself at United, and then he's taken 2 steps backwards. And this is apparently now a major concern for Mkhitaryan and for Mourinho and his staff, that they thought Mkhitaryan had established himself at United and that he was understanding what was required of the Premier League, but he seems to have, you know, physically and mentally gone back into his shell again now, and now there are concerns as to whether he actually will ever come out of that shell and adjust to the Premier League. I mentioned about a month ago the Kagawa syndrome, and maybe that is, I don't know, I just don't know. I think Mkhitaryan was one of the players that I was really excited when we signed him. I really like him. He was that season before, especially in Europe. He was probably the best assister in Europe, and you know, Kagawa was good before we signed him as well. And I think in fairness to them, maybe they've not been used correctly, but you've got to force your way in sometimes. You've got to force your way. Look at what Herrera did under Van Gaal, and Mata did as well. They forced their way into the plans. And sell him to Arsenal, says Josh E. End his career and take Sanchez. You know what? He might do well elsewhere, but I think I do worry about his. Well, Mike Rowlands makes a good point. He needs support. He should be given support from the club and the fans. And I totally agree with that, Mike. I'm not selling Mkhitaryan out at all. I don't think we'll sell him in January. I think he will be here till at least this summer. But I just wonder what he's going to do, because I get worried about players. It's a bit like managers when they're having a bad run and people say, oh, they'll turn it around. How many managers actually do turn it around? In fact, Pullis has been sacked today at West Brom, hasn't he, in case people don't know about that. So I do worry about Mkhitaryan. He has got the attributes, but he didn't do it at home to Crystal Palace. I mean, it's not acceptable to not do it away at Liverpool and at home in the game against Spurs, but he did do it. You know, he didn't do it at home to Crystal Palace before the last international break as well. There's something wrong with him. I've said I think it's mental. Like mentally, he just doesn't seem to have the fight at the moment. And maybe something's going on with his personal life. We saw it with Di Maria. And physically, he just doesn't seem right for the Premier League. If you get at him, he seems to go into his shell. So I don't think Mkhitaryan's going anywhere in January. That's not what I'm saying. But I do think that United have got concerns around Mkhitaryan, and it'd be interesting to see what happens. Timo says I would just get rid of him, and Pankaj says, Mark, you can't write off Mkhitaryan. I don't actually recall saying I've written him off at all. I'm talking about concerns that Mourinho and his staff reportedly have with him, which is something that the fans have had for a while. Mark, I think I've already read that comment. Okay, let's. Mkhitaryan should go to France or back to Germany, where the competition is weaker and softer, says Raheem. I mean, I don't think the competition is necessarily weaker. Well, it is actually. It's spot on. I'm not going to lie. Beyond Bayern Munich and touch Dortmund, RP Leipzig, the German league's rubbish, and beyond PSG and a couple of others, the French league's a pub league, so he'd probably do quite well there. The Premier League is very, very, very competitive. Thanks for the contribution, Momo. Another thing I want to talk about before we mention Fellaini and Pogba, because I do want to open up Skype in a moment, is I was reading something today, I think it was from Mark Ogden, who's normally used to be quite good, but, you know, like most journalists, has become a little bit changes his opinion from one week to the next depending on how many clicks he wants on his articles. And he was saying that De Bruyne is proving Mourinho wrong. And I find these sort of comments ridiculous. How many players has Mourinho got rid of in his career that haven't proved him wrong? Loads, loads and loads. In relation to De Bruyne, and let's throw Salah into the equation, obviously both of them are doing very well in the Premier League this season. But do you think Mourinho, when he sold them, said to them, you're both absolutely crap and you'll amount to nothing, you'll end up being non-league players? How about Mourinho moved them on? Because at Chelsea, they bottled it. They didn't fit in with his mentality and he sold them on. I mean, just because they've gone on and done something else, they weren't obviously doing it for Mourinho at Chelsea when he had them. He bought them both. They didn't do it. He sold them, and maybe that kick up the backside of being sold by, you know, when they went to Chelsea, they probably thought that was their big move. When that's been taken away from them, they've gone elsewhere. It's been the inspiration for them to boost their career. People say, oh, he was an idiot to get rid of De Bruyne. I guarantee you, De Bruyne never would have been the player he was if he'd stayed at Chelsea, because he obviously wasn't that player. He obviously didn't have that dedication and drive that Mourinho wanted. So Mourinho sold him, and then he's used that as the kickstart for his career. I don't think he's proving Mourinho wrong in any way. I think football is, you know, if somebody's underperforming, you tend to get rid of them. It's just sensationalist crap. And also, as I said yesterday, I can guarantee on Sunday morning we're going to get the same old nonsense paper headlines of Pep teaches Mourinho how to beat Huddersfield, because they will beat Huddersfield at the weekend, and it is just absolutely stupid. On the subject of Marouane Fellaini, why is Marouane Fellaini wanting to leave Manchester United? He's 30 years of age next week, and to be honest with you, there is nowhere better for Marouane Fellaini to be than Manchester United. It can only be because he doesn't feel he's getting enough money, and however much he's been offered, I think Fellaini, if you're being offered 100 grand a week, you should snap it up, mate. You're not worth much better than that. The rumour is that he's been offered £120,000. I get that it's probably his last big contract because he's 30. But what is he actually playing at? Why is he not signing that contract? I mean, to be honest, I'm quite happy if he doesn't sign the contracts and he leaves. He's a decent squad player, but I'd rather we went and got somebody better than Fellaini. But why is he not signing it? It can only be about money. There's just, you know, Marouane Fellaini has been at the club for 4 years. For 3 years of that, he's been pretty awful. You know, he was booed by fans at the ground, which I didn't agree with, even though I don't really want Fellaini at the club. I don't agree with booing players. He's finally this season turned a lot of corners and turned a lot of people around. Even myself, who think, you know what, as a bench option for the last 20 minutes, his effort levels and what he brings into the box, he causes, you know, chaos. He's quite a good option. So he's done all that work to get there. He gets offered a big contract at United to end his career here, and he's like, no. He's playing hardball for a bit more money. I mean, that is why Fellaini is not signing a new contract at Manchester United. There can be no other excuse. And why? I think you should just sign it. Just sign that contract. Get it done. Because anywhere else you go is a big step down. You might go and earn. You're going to go to China and earn a load of money. You're going to go to Turkey and get a big signing on fee. I mean, it's not Manchester United, is it? And you know what? Rightly or wrongly, Mourinho really does rate Fellaini. You know, I think Mourinho's wrong on that. It's one of the few things I don't agree with him. But if you're Marouane Fellaini, you've got one of the best managers in the world who really likes you and rates you. You're at one of the biggest clubs in the world. They're offering you a new contract, and you won't sign it because you're haggling for a bit more money. Dangerous game, and I think you should just sign it. Darian Jones says, I think we should give Mickey a chance in this upgraded side with Pogba. Although, is it me or do players from Bundesliga struggle at United? I think it's a good point from Darian, and I do think that Mkhitaryan will be given a second chance. It's not the end for Mkhitaryan, but I think the concern at Old Trafford, which is I was trying to relay, and maybe I didn't relay it as well as I wanted to, is there are concerns as to why, when he first came here, they understood why his physicality and mentality was a bit off because he's new to the club. Look at Pogba's first season, it took him a time to adjust. He'd adjusted, he was doing well, and then he's gone back to the player he was last year. And I think that's what Manchester United are a bit worried about with Mkhitaryan, because, you know, he's gone back again. He's gone back 2 steps again, and why is that? And can he come back, or is he going to be a yo-yo player, or will he just stay this player he is at the moment? So they're not looking to sell him, I don't think. I think it's just concerns about Mkhitaryan and whether he can turn it around or not. So I do agree with you, Darian. I think it's a good point. Skype is pretty much open. Skype Goldbridge, all one word. It's there for you to all call in and have your say. Get Skyping in and have your say on anything you want to talk about tonight. I'm not going to go on about this because hopefully people will call in. But in relation to Paul Pogba, how good can Paul Pogba be? He was absolutely fantastic for Manchester United the other night, of course. And I'm just opening up Skype. He was fantastic the other night. 24 years of age in March. Really top player, and I think he can be. I just think he's any player in Europe would want, any club in Europe would want him. He's at Manchester United. I think he can be anything he wants to be. Tall, powerful, skillful, super player. Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Good man, good.
What do you want to talk about?
Just before the football, I just wanted to say I'm really proud of what was achieved on the 24-hour stream. For you to have the courage to speak about Ben as openly as you did, it really shows how strong you are as a person, and he would be so proud of you. I lost my mum. Well, it was about 4 years ago to it, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's absolutely horrible. And you know, £7,000. It really just shows how incredible this community is. The amount of drivel that's on YouTube nowadays. To see a channel like this, it's just so refreshing. You know, you're allowed to give your opinion. It's a friendly and welcoming environment, and the content isn't fake or scripted. It's genuine. You're doing a fantastic job, Mark. Please, for as long as you're able, and it's all right by your family, carry on doing this because it's an absolutely amazing channel.
Cheers, Andy. You know, I wasn't expecting you to come on and say that. I just want to say, you know, I can't imagine what I'm fortunate enough to still have both my parents, so I can't imagine what that was like. And you know, I think you're right though about the YouTube channel, the community. I was so tired yesterday when I did the Sunday show, and I think SK Design said, "Oh, you're looking really good considering you know you're in about 5 hours sleep." But I was also quite tired mentally, and I think today you're spot on. When I've been thinking about it today, and I'm starting to get back to normal, I thought, you know what, £7,000 in 24 hours from so many contributions is absolutely incredible. Stunning. Yeah, it is, and I can't take credit for that. That's down for, you know, people have got to want to contribute, so they were absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
it's brilliant, and you know, big props to everyone. You know, the mods, George, Beck, Snaps, Tubes, Matthew. I think is he full-time mod now? I've seen that.
Yeah.
Rorty as well, and you know, Ross, Sander, Flex, Rodney, and Mad Marcus. And if he's watching, I hope you get well soon, Marcus. I'm really sorry if I've missed anyone else. It's just I wanted to, you know, give a mention to everyone because this channel is absolutely unbelievable.
Cheers, pal. What was it you wanted to talk about then in relation to? Yeah, we're an United fan channel. I forgot who we were then.
Yeah, yeah. On the game itself, I walked into Old Trafford and it was about 4:30, so I didn't see the team lineups outside. But I walked in and I was looking on the screen and I had to rub my eyes. I couldn't believe it that he was playing Mata, Martial, Rashford and Lukaku up top. And as much as I wanted Pogba to start, I was surprised he did. But I think you talked about it on the channel a few weeks ago. You wouldn't put it past Mourinho Pogba could have been ready for the Chelsea game, but you know, the international break straight after, if he played the Chelsea game, he would have gone off with France, etc. So maybe this was Mourinho's plan all along.
I do think you're right. I think Pogba, the way he played on Saturday, he must have been, you know, you don't just come in off the cold like that. I think he's been ready probably for 2, maybe 3 weeks, yeah. And they just kept him out of the Chelsea game to avoid international duty.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I thought everyone had a really good game. I see a lot of people slagging Lindelof off again. I mean, I don't think you can really blame him for that slip, but he is the last player that we wanted to slip there, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still think we should get behind him, we should back him.
Yeah, you know, he had a good international break, and to be honest, apart from that slip, which can happen to anybody, I said it on Saturday, I don't know what you thought. I mean, obviously you were at the game. I've heard people today trying to blame Smalling, who I thought played really well and scored a good goal and did exactly why I like Smalling, because he is good in the air. Smalling's over on the left-hand side because Ashley Young can't defend. You know, he's very good going forward, but he can't defend. That goal happens because of Ashley Young playing up on the left wing. And Lindelof is at fault for the goal because if he didn't slip, he intercepts the cross. But it's not bad defending, he just slips. It's just an unfortunate turn of events. And, you know, that's why when the goal went in, and obviously you weren't watching the watch-along because you were at the match, but there was a meltdown. We had people going, Mata's crap, Martial's lazy, and I was just saying, look, as soon as the goal went in, we'll win this game. We'll definitely win this game. I've got total confidence in this team.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as Martial equalised, Newcastle just seemed to give up. I said that to my mate because I've got a mate who lives just across from me, and he's a Newcastle fan, so we both travelled up to the game, and he was obviously sat in the away end, so yeah, it was good. I think that the problem is obviously Ashley Young at left back as well. He needs to address this Shaw situation now. Like I'm with you. I'm a big Luke Shaw fan, and I hope he stays. I'd rather have Shaw over Danny Rose, but he needs to address this situation now because Ashley Young he's not a squad player left back, let alone a title-winning left back. If we have aspirations of winning this league, so he needs to address that because that is a huge problem that we've got.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I mean the one thing I would say for anybody who is hoping that Luke Shaw can turn this around like I am, that there were so many things that happened with that lineup on Saturday, whether it was Fellaini not starting and Lingard not starting because he likes them, Pogba obviously started, Zlatan on the bench, Mata at number 10, Rashford and Martial and Lukaku all in the same starting team, and obviously Lindelof started. But the one that people probably didn't really put a lot of weight on, but I did, was Luke Shaw on the bench because we've got a lot of players back now. That bench was really strong. Only 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mourinho said, look, Luke Shaw is going to have to work really hard to get in this team. He needs 4 or 5 games in a row to get his fitness back, and I can't give him that because he's behind Ashley Young, Daley Blind and Darmian. Blind and Darmian are fit, and they didn't make the bench, and Luke Shaw did, which I thought was happy about it, but it's very surprising that he's got himself on the bench ahead of Darmian and Blind. That could be a good sign. Yeah,
definitely. I hope so. And my views on Mourinho don't change, to be honest. I know it was a really good victory, but I still have my concerns about him. But I still think he's the right man for the job because what alternatives are out there, really? And Flex made a brilliant point. I think it was on the Sunday night show. Over 2 legs, Jose is the best manager in the world. I don't agree with you that he is the best manager in the world. I think there are better managers out there, but in terms of Champions League knockout games, over 2 legs, I don't think there's any manager better. But in fairness to Mourinho, he did get the lineup spot on. I just hope that we play more consistently like that. That's my worry, but there it is.
Okay, Andy, great call. Really, really thanks for the, takes a lot of, it's very brave to tell us about your mum, and I think, are you on the live comments then? Are you, Andy? What's your name on the live comments? Some people.
I'm not. No, right. I'm not in the live comments. I haven't actually got a YouTube account, so I just watch. But I'm gonna have to make one and subscribe to this channel because it's absolutely brilliant.
All right, mate. So, okay. All right. Well, thanks for them. Thanks for those kind words, and all the as ever, you normally jump the gun and get on first anyway. But really good call.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. All the best.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
I'm gonna get Kieran on. Kieran, can you hear me?
Hi, pal.
I'm good. I'm purposely getting you on because obviously you did that great call on Saturday that then got cut off because it was on the 24-hour stream and we were about 12 hours in then, and YouTube's only keeps 4 hours streams on there. So I don't know what you were going to call in about, but if you don't mention what you did, I will ask you about it. But it's your call. So what did you want to talk about?
Mkhitaryan, actually.
Okay, go on.
I think he's a money mercenary, to be honest. I think he came to the club for the money. He's reached the top now, and he's no motivation.
It's an interesting angle on that. I mean, yeah, go on.
I think you see that a lot of the time now in football, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's a perfect example. He's just a legend, and that's just my views on Mkhitaryan. I don't know about you.
So you think that Mkhitaryan is just not motivated at Manchester United? It's just a money move?
Well, I just think he is where he wanted to be. He's at the pinnacle of football, and he doesn't want to be anywhere else now. He's made it, in his opinion, I think. That's my view. And
it's an interesting one. I'll just jump in. I'll just jump in because he's an absolute hero in Armenia. In fact, he's made a film of his life. And and I suppose in a way you're right. This is the pinnacle. He's spoken very fondly about Manchester United, and I know his dad died at some point in his life. I can't remember when, and he was like, "Oh, my dad would be so proud that I've made it at Manchester United." There is, everybody in life is different in relation to motivations and everything like that. I just, some people are saying it's a bit harsh, but in live comments, but it's all about opinion. I've said it for a while. I think with Mkhitaryan there is. I was on about it to Ross the other day. I said the thing that stands out about Mkhitaryan now for me is not the goal in the Europa League final. It's Anfield, first half, opportunity, 50-50 tackle with Salah, and he jumped out of the way. And I thought that is not what I want to see in a Manchester United shirt. You've got to fight, especially against Liverpool. If it's a lesser side at Old Trafford, you don't fancy it, then it's still not acceptable. But you can't do stuff like that, and I think that's the problem. And Mourinho won't put up with that, I don't think. Yeah,
well, if it was Alex Ferguson, he probably wouldn't play again. Yeah. But Mkhitaryan, maybe even just try him on the right. Maybe he has, maybe he does like the club, but try him on the right and give him another chance. But yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about Mkhitaryan. I was kind of getting a bit angry. People commenting about.
And also from Saturday night, you called in after the game and you were saying that you're still not happy about Mourinho. Have you changed your mind?
Well, look, I said I'll give him to the end of the season, and but no, I haven't changed my views. The team he put out, I think that's a sign of weakness from Mourinho. And you said, I think it's a good point. Maybe he did defer, and I think it is a sign of weakness. He's given in. He's realised that the club is bigger than him. And you said last night, I think he's a dictator. That's his mentality, and that's why he was at Chelsea. He won't be let do that at United, I don't think, anyway. And that's why I think he has to go. PSG, he'll have full autonomy. Let him do what he wants and get out.
Interesting points, Kieran. Good call, and please do call in again.
Cheers, Pat. See you.
Cheers, Kieran. The call was breaking up a little bit there, so I don't know whether people totally grasped what was said, but it's an interesting angle because I really truly believe, and I know Flex disagreed with me and a few people did last night, I truly believe that something happened over the international break because so many things in that lineup and the subs bench were not Mourinho in his time here so far. He's never played Martial, Lukaku and Rashford, and some people try and say, well, Zlatan's back, that's why. Zlatan's not Martial or Rashford. If one of those comes off, you can't put Zlatan on the left wing or the right wing. He's not fast running at players, flair player. So that, I didn't believe that. Mata at number 10, he's had loads of opportunities to do that. We were screaming out for him to do it in October. He didn't do it. Suddenly after the international break he does. Luke Shaw's on the bench a few weeks after him saying he's fourth in line and leaves Darmian and Blind out completely. Mkhitaryan is totally dropped. Didn't drop him after the Anfield game. Kept playing him. Loads, yeah, there was loads, absolutely loads. The mentality, didn't pick Fellaini. I thought he would pick Fellaini, so he suddenly changed loads of things, Mourinho, and I think that's come from a discussion with. Somebody actually said last night, "You're an idiot, Mark," as if Mourinho watches United stand, because I said he either spoke to Alex Ferguson or he watches the United stand. That was very tongue in cheek. I doubt very much he watches the United stand, but he may well have had a chat with Sir Alex Ferguson, who said, "Look, if you want to be successful here, you've got to win the crowd, and the way you do that is by playing a certain way." So, Kieran's saying there that that's a sign of weakness from Mourinho. Could be a sign of weakness. Could also be a sign of intelligence that he's willing to change things. Yeah. So let's try another call. Hello, Jack. Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you.
How you doing? All right?
Hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. What did you want to talk about, mate?
I just wanted to talk about Zlatan Ibrahimovic's place in the team at the moment.
All right, okay.
So basically, I was thinking about it over the course of today. I came up with, if he plays at Cam, so where Mickey or Mata would play at the moment, when Pogba, Matic or the defence has the ball, he can kind of come deep and pick up the ball and turn. And we saw that a bit on the weekend where he played a couple of balls over the top towards Lukaku, Rashford or Martial. Actually, no, Martial wasn't even on the pitch, but yeah, the wings. And when the ball is on the wings or the fullbacks have it, he can get into the box, and then we have two options in the box: 6'3" and a 6'5" players that can then get their heads on the ball and try and score for us. So I was just thinking that's kind of how we could use him at the moment. I just wonder what you thought about that.
Yeah, so playing him in behind Lukaku. Yeah. I hope it was only a cameo, and the game was obviously already won when Zlatan came on. But I was saying about it last week. I've got no concerns about Zlatan playing as number 10. My only concern was what he comes back from with the injury, because it's a bad injury, and obviously his age. If he comes back the same player he was a year ago, then he can play number 10. I just think many Manchester United fans won't have ever seen him play as a number 10. They only really know him as a number 9, but he's done it before. His passing's fantastic, his touch is fantastic, and he can play that role perfectly. And exactly like you say, you give him the ball, he knocks it out wide, he heads into the box with Lukaku. Of course, our problem is who's going to put the decent crosses into the box, because we don't really have anybody at the moment. But hopefully in January, maybe, I spoke about it on Red Rumours today, maybe we can get Willian or, somebody. We need someone who can put a cross in. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, on deadline day, I saw a couple of rumours about Willian, and I was really hoping that we signed him. Obviously, we didn't. But I think since Ashley Young's come into the side, he's done a good job at left back. There's always Luke Shaw as well. He's got the potential to put a good cross in. Valencia does need to step up with his crossing. He's got glimpses of it. Some of his crossing's been good, and but yeah, he needs to work on that. And Pogba as well. If Pogba can do what he did on the weekend, and like kind of push out towards the wings when one of the wingers has the ball, pick it up, and maybe whip a crossing from deep. That might be another option. So yeah.
It was one of the topics I wanted to talk about anyway in relation to Paul Pogba. 24, I think, in March, I think he was. How good do you think Pogba can be? Because Benitez came out and said he's nowhere near as good as Steven Gerrard yet.
I heard that. Absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I think Pogba can be brilliant. You've already seen it. He's confident. He's a flair player. He's not afraid to do clever things. He'll pick up the ball. He'll try something new, and that's what you need from a centre mid. And I think he's not far off Kevin De Bruyne. I think maybe he could even be better, but some aspects of his game are different to De Bruyne. I mean, De Bruyne, you see some of the passes he plays. Pogba can do that, but I think he's more of an actual midfielder. Pick up the ball, switch the play, get it again, try and create something from deep. And I think that he's got the potential to be really, really good in the future. I think he just needs to, kind of mature a bit within his game, and then I think he'll become really good. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I don't know whether I got it across because so many things were going on Saturday, but the goal, the first goal, the Martial goal was. Yeah. It looks so simple. It's probably one of the best goals we've scored this season for many reasons. Yeah. I think Martial's header, people will think it's easy. He's not that, to many people. He's not that sort of player, but he out-muscles that. I think it was their full-back, or maybe it was a centre-back, I don't know. He out-muscles them, and then when he's up there, he puts the header in the perfect place, because the goalkeeper's actually made a good dive, and it's in the right place. So the goal was finished brilliantly by Martial, which is impressive, and he's been brilliant this year. But in the Premier League, or for anyone, to just stand a player up and then do them, get a yard on them like Pogba does from a standstill, is just, he made it look easy. He made the defender look, or the midfielder, whoever it was, he made them look rubbish. But they're not. People aren't. Newcastle were well set up. They were hard working. That was just Pogba. He can stand somebody up and skin them in a yard. And for a midfielder to be able to do that, so I've mentioned it at the start of the season. The great thing about Pogba, and it's very hard because I want to ask you this question: who you'd replace Pogba with in relation to if he gets injured? Do you think we need to bring somebody in, and who? Because we were smashing teams when Pogba was playing. He goes out for 2 months, we struggle. He comes back, we smash teams. He, for me, is one of the best midfielders in the world because of what he does. He can hit the long ball. He can be physical, but there aren't many people like him who are tall, strong, and skin people in the midfield. And when you do that, when you get past that midfielder, defending wise, someone else has got to come to him, which means they leave somebody else. And there's very few midfielders in the world who do that. And when he's out, we've got Fellaini or Herrera, which is a massive step down. I don't know how United solve that problem, because effectively Pogba is fundamental to us doing what we've been doing when he's been playing.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. But the only problem is I think Pogba's one of a kind. I mean, I can't think of many other midfielders in the world, like achievable midfielders that we could actually get that will pick up the ball and just do what Pogba does. I mean, I can't really think of anyone that would have done what he did on the weekend to get the assist for Martial's goal. No. And that's why I struggle to think how we're going to replace him if he ever gets injured again. Because I think Herrera's definitely not capable of that. Fellaini 100% not capable of that. So where do we look in the transfer market? That's what I've been thinking as well.
No, I think you're spot on. I think that's the thing. It sort of answers the question, really. I don't think there is, which goes back to just how good he is, because there's nobody like him. He was a snip at 90 million because there is absolutely nobody like him at all.
No one.
Thanks for calling, Jack. Really good call. Was it your first time on?
No problem. Yeah, it is my first time, yeah.
Great. Please do call in again.
Okay, yeah, I will. Thank you.
Cheers, pal.
Right.
Yeah, nice to have a first timer on, and it was a good call as well. Please do drop a like on the video. It is the Skype show on a Monday night at 8 o'clock, and it's great. People who are on the show, they'll listen it back, and if they see loads of likes, they'll support the community. Just like Andy said at the start, we've got a fantastic community on the United stand. Keep spreading the word, liking the video, subscribe to the channel, and get involved. And it's great to get some new voices on. Let's see if we can get somebody else on. Let's have a look. Let's try. I don't know who I've clicked here. So, hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Mark.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, mate. You're really quiet.
Can you hear me?
No.
You can, because you just said yeah.
I didn't. I said no.
But you can hear me, because you said no. You replied.
I can hardly hear you. Can you speak any louder?
Do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Alright, I want to speak about Lukaku
Okay.
and him ending his goal drought.
Okay. Go for it.
Well, it's really good for him because his confidence is going to be really high now. And I want to speak about Pogba as well.
Okay, well, floor's yours, pal. Let's start off with Lukaku then. Were you getting concerned about Lukaku then in the goal drought, or did you always, think it was a bit of a storm in a teacup with those United fans who were being critical about him?
Throughout his career, when he's had droughts like that, he's always responded to it. So I had no doubts in him. I knew what he was going to do.
You're not one of these people who says they'd rather have Morata then?
Oh, no. Lukaku's really good.
And Pogba, we were just talking about him there. Then give us your thoughts on Pogba. Then what was it you wanted to talk about?
It just shows how much we miss him when he's out.
Well, I mean, I don't know about you. We were talking about it there with Jack. I mean, some people have moaned that we need a better replacement if Pogba gets injured again. I think that testament to the player that I can't really think of anybody like him in world football who, as a midfielder, is a centre midfielder, but then when he gets the ball, he can run past people, he can hit 40-yard passes, he can score goals. He is. I think he can be anything he wants to be in world football.
Yeah, I agree with you. But also, do you know, next time you're banging all, can you wipe the cum off her because she's too wet?
I didn't hear that bit.
Hello?
Hello?
Next time you ban Lynn Hall, can you please wipe the cum off?
So see, what you do is when somebody tries to be clever, you say you don't hear it, and then when they try and say it again, you just cut them off. You cut them off. So sit down. We've not banned Lynn Hall, have we? Has anybody banned Lynn Hall? We better not have banned Lynn Hall. She's very popular on the United Stand live comments, so I would be very angry with our moderators if we have. Ashwari Nipan says, as Jose said, Pogba and Matic are engine to United. Let's take another call. Oh, Skype's playing up now. Here he is. Let's try that one. Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, Mark. You alright?
I'm good, thanks. Is that Kieran by any chance?
Yeah, Kieran, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm alright, you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. What do you want to talk about?
I just want to talk about, well, a few things. The Mkhitaryan.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think, I don't know why he's not performing, but maybe stuff's been going on in his personal life or,
Yeah, so for those people who've joined a little bit late, obviously it's the title of the show, that in relation to Mourinho, he said that, well, he hasn't said it, it's reported that there's concerns about Mkhitaryan's mentality and physicality. They had them at the start when he signed, but they thought that's normal for a new player. He started the season well, he was doing extra training, but then he seems to have reverted back over the last month to that, and there's now concerns about whether he'll ever really grasp what it is to play for Manchester United in the Premier League and get that form that they bought him for. Do you think he can? Do you think he will turn it around, or do you think ultimately it's just going to be a slow road to exit out of the door?
It's debatable, but I think he can turn it around. It's just when the time, isn't it? It's just, yeah.
Yeah. We were talking about Pogba a little bit there. How good do you think Pogba can be?
Pogba can be a beast. I also wanted to ask you a question. Do you reckon Pogba can like destroy City? Like, so I reckon you can do good when we play City. I reckon we can absolutely destroy him with Pogba in.
I think we will beat City at Old Trafford. I really do. My only concern is, and I'll throw it back to you, is how many points do you think we're going to be behind City when we play them? Because their next 3 games City have got, they'll win them. They'll win them. We're 8 points now. We've got Brighton, we'll beat them. And then we've got Watford and Arsenal away. So if we're any more than 8 points ahead of them, behind them, I think that's the title gone. But I do think if we can keep it to that, I think we'll beat them.
Yeah. Also, it'd be nice for Mourinho because then, like, all these City fans saying they're better than us. Well, have you seen their history?
Exactly. I had some City fan trying to give us some stick on Twitter today, and I was like, you know, how long have you supported Man City since this morning or last week? You know, they've just got so much attitude, and like, you know, if you said who's Sean go to, they wouldn't know, would they?
Yeah, I know. And to be honest, we will be better than next season. We will be like Man City next season. I can tell you that.
Look, you know what? I said it last night, or I said it on the Red Rumours show, and I thought, I don't normally think I make brilliant comments, but I thought this was a really good one. When a manager comes in with an open checkbook, it's very hard to beat them because they get everything that they want. And the last time I remember that happening was when Mourinho actually went to Chelsea in 2005, and Chelsea won the title for the first 2 years, and it took Sir Alex Ferguson 2 years to build a team to sort this checkbook manager out, which Mourinho was when he first went to Chelsea. The interesting thing is now Mourinho's trying to beat a checkbook manager himself, and I agree with you. I think, you know, give it maybe next year, the year after. But the thing about Pep is Pep won't be here. When the going gets tough, Pep will go.
Yeah, I know. And like some people are saying, Pep's better than Jose Mourinho. Not in a million years. Jose Mourinho, I think, in my opinion, I don't know what you say, he's the best manager in the Premier League. That's what I think.
100%, because he's doing it with one arm behind his back and a much worse squad to Man City. Inherited a mess. Pep Guardiola inherited De Bruyne, Aguero, Silva, and an open checkbook.
I'll just love to see Pep's face when we build him, when we batter him.
I hope we do it in December, but I think that will be a bit of a psychological battle, because I think if we're 11 points behind him, we'll pretty much know that, you know, the title's gone. Whereas if we keep it to 8, I think we've got a great chance.
Yeah.
Okay, cheers, Kieran. Good call again.
Right. Thank you.
Cheers, pal. He's gone. He's always very efficient. I never need to shut the call down. Hood Entertainment Channel says, what do you think about Juan Cuadrado on right wing? He can also play number 10. Cuadrado was at Chelsea, wasn't he? I don't know whether he was there at the time that Mourinho was. In fact, Mourinho may well have even signed him. But I don't know. I think there's better than him. Matt Greaves says one arm behind his back. Yeah, I do think Mourinho's got one arm behind his back at Manchester United. For many, you know, that arm behind his back could be many things. If you don't know what one arm behind his back means, it means if you're in a fight, you've got one arm tied behind your back. So you're fighting with one hand, which leaves you wide open and you can't fight properly. And I do feel that Mourinho is like that at United for a number of reasons. One, for the obvious one that I said at the start, the squad and mess he inherited was a total mess. So that makes his job harder. Two, he definitely hasn't been given all the resources he wanted, i.e. Pulisic in the summer. So, you know, he's not getting everything that he wants. But he will get there. He will get there. Paul, can you hear me?
I certainly can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. It's good to talk to you.
Good, good. I know I haven't heard from you in a while, so I hope you're well. What do you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I just literally tuned in. I just finished recording the podcast, and I seen that you were live, and I could see that Mkhitaryan is one of the subjects of conversation. So I thought, I'll get in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I heard someone saying just a moment ago, I think it was you actually saying that there was something in the paper that Mourinho sort of lost confidence in his ability or something like that.
Yeah, so effectively I think it's about the physicality and the mentality that Mkhitaryan, they had concerns about when they signed him. And obviously he improved at the start of the season. He was putting in extra training sessions. But then over that month of October, he's reverted back to what he was a year ago. And I think there's now concerns about whether he's actually ever going to sort it out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough. I think it would be silly to get rid of him, to be honest with you. I think that if you look at the way he started his first season, it was similar to what he's going through now. but he came through that. And I just think that when you look at his performance, when they started dropping, it was when United's performances started dropping, and that was around the same time that Pogba got injured. Now, there's no secret that Pogba is a huge catalyst in the way that we play football. As soon as he's back in the team, the whole dynamic of the team changes. And when Mata came in, right, I've been screaming out for Mata to come in Mkhitaryan's place for the last couple of weeks. And it finally happens, and he was quiet pretty much throughout the whole game. And I thought, okay, so he's not really, got the fans on their feet. He hasn't picked the ball up and gone on any little winding runs and, played a through ball through to a run or anything like that. The sort of thing that Mkhitaryan would do. And I thought, now that the dynamic of the team has changed with the return of Pogba, I would have been interested if Mkhitaryan was on the bench against Newcastle. It'd have been interesting to see, chuck him on for the last 20, 30 minutes to see how he would get on in a team that is back to playing. I say team because it's not just the Mkhitaryan show, but back with the team back to the way they were playing before. Stick Mkhitaryan in there and see how he performs now. Because, he was poor over the last sort of few weeks. He could barely control the ball or anything like that. But he didn't have a lot of options around him. So even when he picked it up, there was not a lot he could do with it, even if he did get hold of it. Didn't have many options around him, anyone to help him out, because the midfield was weak. Forwards weren't making any runs. But put him back in this team dynamic, the way it was before Pogba got injured, the way it was before he went on this slump, and I almost guarantee that we'll see the Mkhitaryan we've seen 2 months ago.
Yeah, I mean, Louise O'Donoghue's just said it, so I'm glad it's not just me. She said Mata was fantastic, and I thought Mata played really well at the weekend, but there were people who said they weren't impressed with him, so, I'm not going to dwell on that too much. And I do sort of agree with you. Mkhitaryan...
I'm not going to say Mata was bad. He just didn't get me on my feet. Like Mkhitaryan would when he picked up the ball and he ran past two players, took players out of the game. Mata doesn't have that in his game. That's basically what I'm saying. I'm not saying Mata was bad. He just didn't get me on my feet the way that Mkhitaryan could.
I do think it's... I mean, again, I'm going to ask you something else in a minute because it sort of fits in what you said there. But I do agree that Mkhitaryan potentially could have played better at the weekend because Pogba was there, because there would have been more space. But as I said as well, I still don't think that lets Mkhitaryan off the hook, because you cannot have a player that can only play well with Pogba. He's got to turn up. Pogba doesn't make him bottle 50-50 tackles. He's got to have the strength of character to actually, when Pogba's out, step up to the plate and be like, I've got to do something. I do agree he'd get more space and he'd probably be better with Pogba in there, but also we can't carry him when Pogba's not there. But what I was going to ask you is that, and I've got a theory that something happened over the international break with Mourinho, and maybe it was a sit-down chat with Sir Alex Ferguson who gave him a few home truths. But in itself, I was quite surprised that Mkhitaryan wasn't involved, because a lot of people like you have said, look, when Pogba's back, Mkhitaryan will be better. Mkhitaryan, Mourinho stuck by him for too long in October, I felt. He stuck by him. The international break comes. He did well on the international break, Mkhitaryan. Pogba's back. You'd think, this is the chance to prove himself right about sticking by Mkhitaryan. He'll definitely play. And then he totally dropped him, which I thought was odd. But I just feel that Mourinho did a lot of odd things at the weekend. I was happy about them all. Luke Shaw picked on the bench over Darmian and Blind, who he's been picking ahead of Luke Shaw. Mata at 10. Lukaku, Martial and Rashford playing as a front three, which we've all been going on about, but we never thought we'd see. Lots of things that were unlike Mourinho. So I don't know whether you've got a theory about what do you think changed over the international break to make Mourinho suddenly start doing everything the fans want?
What I'm going to say now, I already know that you disagree with it, because I'm pretty sure I heard you say it on a previous call just a moment ago. I think the reason that Rashford and Martial both started is purely because of the return of Ibrahimovic and Paul Pogba. Now, let me just... I know you said a moment ago, but Ibrahimovic isn't a winger. But having Ibrahimovic on the bench gives us that, an option from the bench. Now, sure, he's not going to come on and play on the wing, but just because you've got a player coming on from the bench doesn't mean that the tactics have to remain the same. It doesn't always have to be a like-for-like change. Now, so you could bring them on and change the system a little bit. Now, before Pogba and Ibrahimovic came back, there was no other option off the bench that was half decent. So he felt the need to keep one of them off. And I think there was also a little bit of, I want them to be in competition with each other. I want them to stay on their feet. But I think the reintroduction of Pogba and Zlatan just gave us that extra bit and allowed him then to play those two up front just to see what would happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Well, I wouldn't agree with it, sorry. I don't agree with it, but, I'm not going to pull you up on it because it's all about opinion, and, I'm not saying my opinion's right, so that's right. Paul, before you go, you mentioned the podcast. If people don't know who Paul is, he does the podcast on weekly, which is available through the unitedstand.com, but it's a great podcast. I'm not on it, so people might say it's even better. But tell us all about it, Paul, because it is weekly, it is there, and people always say, why is the United Stand not available as a podcast? Well, you can listen to the shows on YouTube if you want, but there is a podcast, it is out weekly, and Paul's going to tell you where you can find it.
So me and Ash Burns, Ash Boyo on Twitter, I'm sure some of you may well know him. We do the podcast every week. It's usually on a Monday or a Tuesday. We just finished recording tonight, so that one will be available. Just search the United Stand or the show's title, Talking Manchester United, on your podcast app, and it will come up. It's usually about 30 to 40 minutes long. Keep it short and sweet. Always a good laugh. So yeah, get over there and have a listen. Yeah,
brilliant, Paul. Thanks for calling. You should call in more, because then we can promote the podcast. I need to promote it more. I'm very. I apologise for that, but thanks for calling in, mate.
Right. No problem. Cheers.
I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.
Ta-da.
There's just so much going on, especially this weekend. But no, it's no excuse. The podcast is fantastic. I listen to the podcast. It's the only Manchester United podcast I listen to, and I've never ever been on it. So apart from it is the United Stand podcast. It's available on unitedstand.com. You'll find it on there. We'll have to put a link in the video, I think. I'm going to take another call in a minute, but it just dropped into my head. Obviously, we did the 24-hour stream at the weekend. Please do drop a like. I want to get at least 500 likes while we're live, because we've had some really good calls again tonight. Skype Goldbridge on a Monday night is always very, very good. We get really good callers, and a lot of people are saying what a great call Paul put in. So do like the video and support the community who call in. But it just dropped into my head. We did a 24-hour stream at the weekend for charity. I've got to read some more contributions out, because people have contributed today as well. But my wife was watching bits of it, and if people want to know, there's an award going to be made tonight, and it's from my wife, because there's a particular live commenter whose name she just really likes, and she said it just makes me laugh every time I see it. So without further ado, people will be thinking, Will, please be me. Dr. Chunky Biscuit, she just loves the name and said fantastic name, so there you go. It just dropped into my head there. But let's take another call and see what else it will be another good call, I guarantee it, but let's see what people are saying. I don't know who I've clicked. Can anybody hear me? Hello?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Mark, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. You?
Great. I'm a big follower of the United Stand.
Great. You're breaking up a little bit, but hopefully it will get better with time. What was it you wanted to talk about, mate?
Yeah, I just wanted to speak about this Mkhitaryan business.
Okay.
I just think that Mkhitaryan, I remember that game against Spurs last season when he was literally, I thought he would be an absolute star for our club. I really did when I watched him. He was just running at them, and I thought this is exactly what we lack. It just has to be confidence why he's not playing like that, because you have seen a player there. I mean, when it came to Kagawa, we just didn't see it ever.
Yeah, I like. The thing is, people say, "Oh, you're picking on Mkhitaryan." I don't think any player. I don't think really many fans pick on players because they dislike them or something like that. And the odd thing about Mkhitaryan, and I don't know about you, is that I was really excited. Last summer when we signed Bailly, Pogba, Zlatan, and Mkhitaryan in an odd way was probably my favourite signing, because magician. He can be that, and I really wanted him to play as a number 10, and it's just been so disappointing this season. And I just worry when a player in their second season goes backwards, because the second season, like we've seen with Pogba, is the season where you understand what the manager wants, you understand the league, and you start playing well, like Pogba has. like Martial has. I know it's not his second season, but it's his second season with Mourinho, and he's got it, and he's brilliant, and Pogba's brilliant. But Mark Mkhitaryan has dropped again, and I think this is where these reports are coming that that the Mourinho and the club and his staff are concerned about Mkhitaryan as to why he's dropped back again, why he's lacking confidence, why he's not getting into tackles, why when he gets the ball he's dropping his head and not looking up. I wonder if there's something gone on in his private life, if he's not settled in Manchester. I don't know, because he doesn't look like a player that's happy, and that obviously can have an impact. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I personally think it's a system that is a big problem for those sort of players for us. I mean, why Mata? Really, I mean, you bang on a lot that he's very consistent, but what has he actually done for us for the last year and a half? He hasn't actually been a standout player. I mean, when he was at Chelsea, he was brilliant. For us, he's done okay, but he hasn't. I mean, personally, I think if you bring in Griezmann, I think he would be a big flop for us. I really don't think these sort of players just work in our system. These small players, they just, in the Mourinho system, they do not work. It's as simple as that, in my opinion.
It's an interesting point. I mean, I disagree with you on Mata. I think Mata's consistently an 8 out of 10 player, and he wears the number 8. But I think the second part, I do agree. I was trying to think in my head then. We at United pretty much value the number 10 position. We love it. A lot of United fans love it, which is why we want Griezmann, which is why when we got Kagawa we were happy, when we got Mkhitaryan, it's why we were like, people are always on about playing Mata there. But actually, United aren't really, historically, a club that's had an outstanding number 10. That player who plays between midfield and attack. Cantona did it quite well. But realistically, I can't really think, people are going to say Scholes, but Scholes was more of a midfielder. The out-and-out number 10...
Yeah, but those days were 4-4-2, no?
Yeah.
I think that was more because it was a 4-4-2. Things have changed, I think, since then. The game has moved on, I would say.
I would like us to get Griezmann.
I mean, who played with number 10?
I'd like to get Griezmann. You're not the only person I've heard today say Griezmann won't work at United. I would like to get Griezmann, and I think he could. I think we're set up to have a number 10. You've got Matic and Pogba, who are just beasts in the midfield. You've got Lukaku, who has to play up front on his own because he can occupy. We've got the width, although it's not as good as I'd like it to be, whether it's Mata, Rashford, Martial or Lingard. And then you've got your number 10. And, I gave Rooney a lot of stick for 3 years because he was on the decline and he wasn't good enough as a number 10. But Mkhitaryan's played it. We've seen Lingard play it recently. We've really struggled with the number 10. And I just wonder, you look at Manchester City with De Bruyne who can play that position, and even Silva sort of plays it sometimes, or they both play it. If we had a number 10 who could play that position, then we'd be an even better team than we are at the moment. But you think that it just doesn't suit the way we play?
Yeah, I personally think as good as De Bruyne is, and of course he would improve us, but I believe if you would put De Bruyne on our team, I still think I think he would struggle. I mean, it's not a coincidence that, you can't say Rooney's a bad player, Mkhitaryan's a bad player, Lingard's a bad player. They're all a bad player. This is not a coincidence. None of them are working in that position because I think it's the way the manager sets up the team. It makes that player in that position very isolated. That he just hasn't got the options. I mean, everyone's talking about how good De Bruyne is. De Bruyne is this. De Bruyne is that. De Bruyne is playing with an amazing team. So everything he does looks brilliant. If you put him in our team, I really don't think he would look as good.
It's an interesting theory, and I don't necessarily disagree with it because there's the way other teams set up is different to the way we set up. It'd be interesting. Watch this space. I certainly dropped a seed in my head as to whether we can actually sort that problem out or not. But thanks for the call, Steve. Where are you calling from?
I'm phoning from London.
London. Really good call, pal, and please do call in again.
Thank you very much. I love the show, Mark.
Cheers, pal. Thank you. Dr. Chunky Biscuits made a comment. He says, thanks, Mrs. Goldbridge. She ain't watching tonight. But you're here, so at least I know she's not with you. Zip It George says Chad Sproul. Finally someone with a great point, says Paul Robinson. Respect the callers, guys. Zach and you. I hope people are respecting the callers. Look, as I said on Saturday when Kieran came on after we'd won 4-1 and he was very anti-Mourinho. Obviously I don't agree with that comment, but look, I don't really care what people come on and say here. Because as long as it's not abusive, obviously, because football's all about opinion and people will have different opinions, so do respect them. Obviously disagree with it, but you don't need to get abusive about it. Hood Entertainment Channel has made a contribution. He says we have to stop buying players from different leagues and we have to start signing Premier League proven players so we don't have to have the next Mkhitaryan or Lindelof. Interesting point. Thanks everyone who's dropped a like on the video so far. Really important on the Skype show that you do like the video and support those people who are calling in. Really important. I just want to say as well, after this video, if you've not seen Red Rumours, which we put up at 1 o'clock, really good video today. Lots and lots of topics, all of which are very concrete. I think last week, you know, there wasn't a lot of news about, well, there was, but I didn't really feel that it was credible. I think everybody we spoke, every player and Mourinho that we spoke about on Red Rumours today, and it's only a 10-minute show. Really concrete, and Griezmann obviously features in there. So when you've watched here, you can go and watch the. Is it on my recommended videos? It's on my recommended videos, so hopefully it's on yours. It's Griezmann to Manchester United. So give it a watch. Another 10 minutes bonus of United Stand if you haven't watched Red Rumours. I'm just going to update you on the Just Giving. I haven't put the link in the video description today. If you want to still donate, you can do. The last video I put the link in the video description was 2 videos ago, so it was Sunday night show. But we have had some contributions today. Anonymous contributed £5. Calvin Drago contributed £30. Thanks, Calvin. Edgar Matari, amazing project, mate, go a long way. Very good of the United Stand community, $2. Nathan Green, great effort for a great cause. Well done, Mark, £2. And 6 very RVRE contributed as well. And Dr. Chunky Biscuit, obviously. I'll give him another shout out. He said, well done to everyone. My granddad died of cancer and my dad died of leukemia back in '96. Been following this great channel since about 3 weeks from the beginning. Keep it up. And he contributed. So thanks to Dr. Chunky Biscuit. He's a bit of a celebrity tonight with the shout out from there. Yeah, Andrew Wilkinson says there's 1,500 people watching and only 500 likes. Come on, guys. Yeah, I do shout out for the likes on this video because it is important. I will pin the comment with the Just Giving page as well. We made, oh sorry, I forgot to say. So we made 6,438 is what we got, but with all the gift aids, we've got 630. We're over 7. We're just £7,068. £7,000 in 24 hours, which is stunning. Which is what Andy was on about at the start. So people are already leaving, so I'll wrap up. Thanks everyone. Really good show. Back tomorrow with I'm going to do a preview, but I'm going to do the preview at 1. Because I want to get Rodney on at 8 and I don't like doing previews on the 8 o'clock show because we waste the show there. So I'm going to do a preview show at 1 o'clock tomorrow for the Basel game, and then we'll do 8 o'clock tomorrow night on whatever the topical stuff is. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you don't want me to do a preview at 8 o'clock tomorrow night for a Champions League game, which, you know, it's important. We'll be doing watch-alongs for it, but I'd rather I like the 8 o'clock show to be a bit more dynamic and topical. So I'll do the preview in the day at 1 o'clock and it'll be live. If not, pick it up. Struggling with the cold, which is the I've got like, oh, you don't want to know what's coming out of my nose at the moment. Got problems with it, but that's because of the 24-hour stream. I was blowing it like a good one. And just finally, Lynn Hall's not been banned. I know exactly what he said, but I just said banned because they ain't got in the minute of the day. Thanks everyone for watching. Do drop the likes. Andrew Ellis has just dropped a like. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're getting very close to 150,000, and we've got some things planned for that. So thanks everyone. Keep spreading the word. It's the best way for us to grow. And I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the preview. And if not, if you haven't watched Red Rumours, go and watch it now. It's only 10 minutes. It was a really good show. It's the Transfer Weekly show on the United Stand. See you all very soon. Thanks everyone for watching. I'm off to watch The Walking Dead.